been doing the past several weeks is we are locating all of the Phragmites on PCCI property. And now we found all of it, what we think anyways. And now we're going to be taking tissue samples and extracting DNA from them here in the lab. And then after we do that, we're going to go back to CMU and do our genetic testing and all that. And the ultimate question is, we want to find out whether these Phragmites are the native, invasive, or a hybrid.
So a little background on how you can tell. The only true way to tell the difference between native and invasive is through genetic testing, but there are some small identification skills that you can use to determine if it's native or invasive. This is the stalk of the Phragmite right here. It's actually known as the culm. For a native plant, this will be dark red, whereas for an invasive, it'll be green. The leaves that come off of these on a native will be yellow or light green, and on invasive, they'll be really dark green. And then on a native plant, the dead leaves will actually fall off of these, and on the invasive, they'll remain throughout the next year.
All right, yeah, as you can see, they can grow pretty tall. So that's actually the tallest one that we've found out there. But yeah, we've walked all over the property to find these, and we've used GPS to map out all of these stands, so PCCI has an updated map.
Perfect.
Some unexpected results. When we were writing our proposal, we were not expecting that we would find any large additional stands here on the property. But as we soon came to find out, that was not the case, and we found a lot of Phragmites. We do have some maps right here.
These are what PCCI found in 2007 in orange. And then, as you can see, it expands just in 5 years.
In 5 years, this one has doubled right here. And then there's a bunch of new ones that have came in down here. And then from 2012 to 2014, it's grown substantially even more. That is leading us to believe that there probably is invasive because of the rate that they're spreading.
The only known stand of invasive that we know is that little tiny thing. Right there, little tiny thing. Yeah, that's just another comparison of how much it's grown over just the past several years.
Since 2007, there's been a 123% increase in the amount of Phragmites on the property.
Yep, as we said before, we're going to be now taking tissue samples from all the different stands around, and then as we do that, we'll be extracting DNA.
Future plans at CMU. Once we get back to the lab, we'll begin PCR reactions on all the samples that we take. Then we'll have the genome sequenced at Michigan State, and when we have the genome sequenced, we'll be able to do a principal component analysis, which incorporates multiple variables into.
Yeah, the PC1 and 2 are the different artificial variables that the analysis does, and those variables are based on DNA sequences. So when we get our results, we'll have the native there should be all in one group, and then our invasive should be in another group, and then the hybrid should be somewhere in between. That is the one stand that we know of that's invasive, and Jen here has been treating it for the past several years, and it has been shrinking, which is good. But she's been treating it for
burned it,
and
it still keeps coming back. So
they're
hard to get rid of. We do believe that the majority of the stands are native. This is the wet lab right here, so this big stand right here, we believe is native, as well as the ones north of the road. And due to the fact that there is native, and we believe that there's invasive, that more than likely hybridization between the two are occurring in this large area, and a little bit up here.
that's the real question that we want to know is if these are hybrids here because there are some stands, as you can see, that are growing rather aggressively. And yeah, that's just an example of how they can eradicate some of those huge invasive stands. And so once we have all that information, if hybridization is occurring, we can give that to PCCI, and then they can make an eradication program if need be. And yeah, we'd like to thank Jen, who wasn't here today. She kind of took us around and showed us where all the big stands were and gave us some tips. And then AJ and Matt have helped us a lot with the GPS and GIS work too.
Any questions?
Hi. I'm not a science person, I'm a poet. So I don't know what are they?
They're,
What would my name for them be?
well,
Common reed.
common
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, since it's big grass. Okay.
They can grow up to 14 feet tall.
Oh, okay.
In the back.
I may have missed it, but how many samples are you going to be sequencing?
For the larger stands, we're going to be,
For the larger stands, we're going to have to divide them out into different sections.
probably for an area like this, we will be doing around 25 samples. And then for some of the smaller stands, like the ones up by the road that we believe are invasive, we're going to just take all of those because there's not a whole lot of plants in the smaller stands, so we'll be taking at least 10 per small stand.
Hybrids as invasives?
They can be. They can just be maybe not as aggressive as the invasive, but they can be a lot more aggressive than the native will be, and they can spread faster.
So you're not necessarily looking for invasive, you're looking for hybrids, because it seemed like there was a lot of diagnostic difference between the two. Like you could probably, between native and invasive, you could probably